Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. It's very, very important for me to represent the Vatican Library today. It's really an honor for this important project. The first slide that you see realizes our dream. Take all our manuscript in any different home for free for any person. We have several important manuscripts inside to the Vatican Library. This is just an example, a gospel from Luca, but all the quantity of the manuscript is not Christian. We have a manuscript from several countries, from several religions, from several nobiliary families that donated all the collection to the Vatican Library because the Vatican Library has the mission of conservation. This is an example, will be the new one reading room that will be open the next years. And this is the actually reading room for the printing in Vatican Library. And also, this one, a reading room for the manuscript. But is never enough. We have investigated in the last 8 years that in 500 years of the story, the Vatican Library give the chance to the paleography people to study no more of 20% of our manuscript. The Vatican Library has 82,000 manuscripts, and we have realized that in 500 years the people study no more of 20,000 manuscripts. We have a big one piece of our story is inside of our bunker. And with the traditional way, is not possible you take this information around of the world. Because the story is not proprietary of the Vatican Library. The story is for human people, for all the people. It is important that each one of the person has the chance to investigate it. The concept of the Vatican Library is conservation, but in the last 500 years, the philosophy is conservation a little bit changed. Normally, we have several considerations, because when he investigates that our collection will be taken in any different home, I have realized that we must change our philosophy. We have two chances. Preserve the collection and the manuscript, and you take them in our bunker. In the next 100 years, no one can to be touched, because anyone that the one manuscript comes up to the second floor for the paleography people take a virus, has a problem with different humidity and many, many things. And that is damage the manuscript. And after this consideration, we realize that our philosophy will be conserve our collection in digital way. Take the manuscript one time, but with digital conservation philosophy, take this manuscript for all the time, for all the people, for always. And there are several considerations that we must investigate. The technology sometimes may be aggressive, and that we can be realized that the technology is just a device that will be used step by step. Wait, because we must realize that the subject of our story is the manuscript, and the technology is just a little bit piece of device for go on. the life of the manuscript. This is an example what's made before. It's just an image of our restoration office. At the conservation philosophy, before is restoration the manuscript. Now everything will be changed. No more enough restoration the manuscript. But take the manuscript, comes out of the Vatican Library. This is because it's a start a very big one project of 2010 and rebuilding of the infrastructure inside to the Vatican Library with new architecture of technology, with policy of security for the manuscript reading room. Started our project with installed particular video camera from Mobotics to high definition for check what's matter in reading room. Made to image in our library, we have several reading room and have only 2 or 3 people on the desk for 200 people in any table with the manuscript. And before, it's impossible to check how the person manipulated the manuscript. The manuscript will be too much delicate. And this installation with the video camera implemented our security policy. And the people work with more heart near to the manuscript. This is an example how when have an impact of the video camera for architecture philosophy inside to the reading room for the manuscript. It just we realized very soft this impact. And also we have realized that it will be not enough. And this way we project the RFID technology, passive technology, together the manuscript. This technology gives it to us the chance to investigate where is the manuscript or who touched the manuscript any time inside to the building of the Vatican Library. The RFID technology really has just not information inside, but only the MAC address that will be coming from the factory. This number is a unique number, a link directly to our databases. It just the devices for understanding the information related to the manuscript, to the person, to the gate, to the functionality that will be realized with the manuscript in any moment of your life. Then this chip will modify something procedure. For example, on the silicon solid memory, we recreate a software that anytime refresh the contents of the MAC address. This is important because the life of the RFID chip information is no more of the 5 years. And the program check that all information inside of the chip by tag will be still there after this time. And with this philosophy, we check the book by telecamera. We check the person. And also we check by software. With this software, is it possible you write the name of the person, the gate of the book, and then the system, you take all the clip that will be relative, for example, to my name, or for example, in particular manuscript. This is important because we don't have the operative room for a video camera, but anything is by to the computer. And then computer help to us any day because I asked information about my name and the system explained to me which book I take, where I am this moment, with which book, which gate I have crossed, or which operation I have asked about this book. This philosophy is applied in any different situation and then painting, coin, inside to the Vatican Library. Everything will be checked. That will be important because the building of the Vatican Library is a big one. It's very difficult understanding which materials stay in any different rooms. With this philosophy for us, it's very easy because any material in room has one chip dot and one chip further near to the door. Any material that cross on the door give information to the data center. And then, in any moment, I know if some material across this door is not coming again to the office. Obviously, all information going to the data center. And then the philosophy is that everything will be recovery inside to the main system and will be possible to check anything step by step for all information. This is an example of our workflow relative to our job for digitalization of the manuscript. This workflow realized with the test bed philosophy system that we realized inside the Vatican Library 7 years ago, but this workflow is dynamic. And today, together the people with NTT data is always go home, change some little piece of them because it's better some functionality, because something will be better how before. Really, our workflow is relatively easy. We have several operators in any different devices. We have a video camera, scanner, planetary to high definition. And then all the job of this operator will be validated by and pool of a tutor. And any file validated by the tutor will be validated by our super tutor. The super tutor gives the authorization to the system to write directly on the database. If something is wrong, the super tutor go back the functionality to the workflow and remake the images, do again all the functionality. Only when the job is ended, the super tutor validate the manuscript, and the manuscript go in TIFF format inside to our database or in FIT format, depend which period. Normally, our philosophy will be very important to understand our philosophy to decide a different format. Because this question is an important question. Digitalize is a big risk. Because the first question that we must answer is what's matter in the next 100 years? What's matter of my data? I invest lots of money with this philosophy. It may be that change the format, change the devices, change the philosophy, and my data is gone. With this idea, no one start. There are not big one project around of the world for big data conservation. Why? It's important because no one decide that and format for conserve this data. The technology is not important because the technology can't be changed. Any 5, 7 years, the technology will be updated, but remain the format conservation and the operative system. And our question mark is very important because we have something of a piece of the story that will be wonderful. Codex Porgianus and Torah's Japanese painting, the Divina Commedia illustrated by Botticelli, Koran, and Iliad, the language, but just a little bit piece of an example that we have. And for you save anything, we decide to move on and FITS format. The FITS format is a format that will be realized 47 years ago in the community of the physics and astrophysics for conserve the material that coming from the star. Why? We decide to use it FITS. FITS is oldest. If today can't be possible realize and see the images for the lunar mission, is because these images is right in FITS format. There is just another example that has the same age. Is operative system Unix. It's father of Linux. And the Linux is inside of each one form. When something is projected well, it's still there, never change. I have a system management administrator Unix, I am oldest. And if I do the command ls, it's the same command, is still there after 45 years. Nothing will be changed. For Unix, for Linux, and for other operating systems, everything it's nice, and that will be available very strong for me and for my dot and for the future. This is because the side FITS. FITS is still there from 47 years. And when created by astronomic pool with the NASA together, but people from around of the world. And then will be created long time ago, but today it's updated any 6 months. Now is a 64-bit platform, more of a 3-dimension. That's one important thing, is open source. Which is the alternative? The alternative will be TIFF, but created on a 92. Last update, 98. Now ready for 3-dimension and proprietary by Adobe. Why? We must decide to go on the next 100 years in this way. All the people use a TIFF, but TIFF is a viewer format. It's not conservation format. This is nice for family picture or something more, not very high definition picture. A little bit different, TIFF is and proprietary format. I want to take these people, several people is too much, one consideration. The 95 of the document that will be inside our company coming from Adobe. Any company uses PDF. Any company download the reader any 1 week, 2 weeks, and Flasher. Our document, it's not our document, it's Adobe document. It's very strange. In one word, when it's important, don't have a monopoly. Where Microsoft and Apple has a word, because divided the market, the merchandising of operating system, Adobe take all. That is very strange, no one speak. And there are not projects in this way because anything is a worry of this duration. What's matter is tomorrow someone decided you buy Adobe. Many times, company with Microsoft decided to buy a company for kill them. Where are our documents, our storage, our relation? If no one, there is no more to download the possibility and new one reader for new release. This is the idea. Use the FITS philosophy with open source, with the idea of a platform for conservation philosophy, because FITS created a picture of the document, and then will be possible you realize a low-level images with the document, a very, very big one, high level from the picture of a manuscript. FITS, it's available for all. And also, in the next 20 or 15 years, it's possible to download the picture without problem. The picture of your relation, because it's not necessary you understand in which office you write your relation, or which release of PDF you realize your document. It's important you have the picture. The picture will be possible, available any moment, very easy. All our philosophy is important because never we want to change the life of the people that work around to us. We save the file in feeds, we have the conversion engineer, and the people can to move the file feeds to TIFF, PTIFF, JPEG, PDF, how you want. And the life of the people is never a change. On the desk, the people continue work at the same time, without modify. We have modified only the logic conservation philosophy, nothing more. When normally in our workflow, we have all the file as a stage area. Inside the stage area, the file waits 6-7 months. After this time, converted in feeds. And any time that someone wants to take the document, it's just a call in automatic way, a program, and the program converts in automatic the format that the people decide. And the philosophy that we realize that will be divided us in 3 important steps. Scanning. It is important to understand that it is not very easy, because also for the scanning philosophy, we decide you write and workflow and also the guideline. The guideline that we write is a relative tuning of any different scanning. Before, when we have the analogic picture, we have the negative that will be right with information about the color. On the scanning, we have the same. We have the table of the color. In any color has different weight. And when we start the job for any different acquiring device, machine, picture machine, or devices, planetary, or other things, we define for any machine the table of the color. This is because the philosophy of conservation will be totally independent from the device that you use it, because the device change, the technology change, but the value of the color is still remain the same. The yellow is always the yellow, blue is blue, and red is red, and many parameters will be always the same. This is important because in any moment with any different devices, I can decide to recreate the original from digital situation without take the original manuscript. And also, another philosophy that applies inside the device is that the impact of the scanning process will be quiet, without damage. There is a big one glass on the manuscript that will be open for 100 grade that check the pressure on the manuscript. And there is another system that check the focus after the glass, no before, for you have the images perfectly. And also another philosophy that apply on the process is the saving. Without to repeat anything, at the end of the workflow, any file, any situation that will be realized the procedure, and when I speak about the log, how the operator work, how many times resize the same page, how many times the manuscript is rescanning. All the story of the digital manuscript, it's right inside the EMC at this moment, EMC technology. The technology is not important. The technology is and piece just will be changed. The main important thing is the philosophy, how you can create the workflow. Let me explain one thing that normally may be indifferent, but really no. We don't use it normally the PC that will be check the devices for write temporary the information that coming from the scan, but we write directly to the database with operating system Unix. Why? That is easy. Before, because may check what we call the black burst, the black hole, when I transfer file from Microsoft to Linux. It's very dangerous. We must to check again, because many often appear the black hole on the images. In this case, we must start again. This is because we write directly in a Unix operating system. Another things that we're doing, on the work processor, on the workflow, never change the location of the file. One time that I have seen that the file is integer, it's wonderful, anything is okay, the file never move, but I change only the owner of the file. I change only the information about which the file you can realize. And then we use the command move, no copy, just move. Move is a procedure in Linux that don't touch the file, but go to the FS tab index and change the index relation to the file without touch the file. This is important for us because we are sure that the information that we created never will be changed. That will be in a philosophy of long conservation. It's very, very important. This is distribution. This is, NTT data help to us in any of this situation because the side which electronic devices for saving and together implemented the workflow, but in particular way with distribution, NTT data is near to us. With the philosophy, with implemented web management, commercial things, any day it's together us to divide it with us with this decision, because for us it's important decision in fixed format. I want to spend some word about entity data person that I work with them more 1 years. And I can explain that we have decided not only because it's a very good person from the professional side, very good technical person, but for you go on and project or the same problem with big one problem because there are political problem and money problem and many things together. It's necessary you have a people that has a piece of earth and dream. We can divide the same goals. I am sure that entity data person, all the person that work with us, you want to realize the same dream that we have in Vatican Library. Take the manuscript for a long time in any different home for free. Because this is very, very important. This is an example how we can realize the web and entity data collaboration. This is the user-friendly way. Normally, our library is a professional library, but for the manuscript, everything is too dangerous. The approach for high level, it's very difficult for the philosophy, for user-friendly philosophy. This is because divided the access to the manuscript in two different ways. First of all, we have just a very easy list From this list, you do and click to any manuscript that you want. It can flip any pages. And you can read the manuscript at the same time that you have a manuscript in front of you. This is the product that we want to take in your own. I give it to you the chance of you see any different page of a story, because this is an emotion, very big one emotion. You're taking my home and manuscript that has more of 2,000 years. The second thing that we have realized is an approach very professional, the same to the printing books, as an open public access catalog for, at the same time, to the printing books, for coin office, for stamp, for all material that we have. And this approach is a little bit more difficult because it's a technical approach. This is an example of the digitalization process. And digitalization process has two speeds. One, it's only digitalization manuscript, with the call number is the name of the manuscript, the essential information about the manuscript. And this is the example that you see before. It's faster, more faster. Another one way, the approach is technical, it's the catalog. The catalog is a little bit complex because the manuscript don't have one title, don't have one author. For understanding this information, we must study the manuscript. It's not a printing books. For example, the paleography people that study the manuscript realize that the information about this manuscript will be understanding that the manuscript will be right from this person. But another paleography studied the same manuscript for another 1 year and defined that the author will be another one. Oh, a piece of the manuscript is by an author, another piece to another author. And the process goes on. Because the paleography philosophy is interpreted the calligraphy. This is the big problem. It's many different situations, and that you can have many different things to do. This is just necessary example of our infrastructure by network. And any piece of the technical that will be defined inside the building is a study to have the best efficient solution. Made to image on the flow where are the scanner, any scanner when ended the functionality from to any page has 200 megabytes. Any manuscript maybe normally has 500 pages. All the procedure, when it will be validated, if you multiply 200 megabytes for 500 times, can understand how many files go in charge to the server. If you multiply this for any different scanner, made to image how many traffic there is on the backbone from to the second flow to the data center. And this is important for understanding, for don't have the network that will be slowly during of the transfer, because the job is very, very big one. Let me talk about, I have some minutes, one philosophy or before, when I explained to you that it's possible to conserve with the philosophy a long-term conservation and picture of your document. We have implemented another particular things that we call pattern search recognition. That is important because when I have a big lake of information of a picture all together, it's very difficult to understand for example, my relation from your relation from another office. And then we realized together another point of search inside the Howard University and software that give it to us the chance to pattern search recognition. This software utilizes my name, for example, how a design, nothing more. Very stupid software. And then search the same design in any document of the database lake. It's easy, it's faster. It's not necessary of an index that I can go on any time that add one manuscript, search any type of a document in my databases. We utilized also this procedure for compare the manuscript. For understanding, for example, if the calligraphy of one manuscript is the same as other one. And when I have digitalized several manuscripts, I start the software and the system I select one piece of a word, one calligraphy, and ask it to the software to search in all the manuscript that I have digitalized if there is something right with the same hand. And the system confront for me. And that is very important for paleography people because can have an access many different manuscripts, can explain to me which hand write how many manuscripts. And then it's also important to understand which is the data of this manuscript, which is the region. And then with this way it's possible you have an access to administration document relative for a manuscript. Because it's important to know that understanding that the manuscript before it's something that will be ordered for nobiliar person and then paid for them. For example, in Divina Commedia by Dante Alighieri, the Federico di Montefeltro, the princess of the Urbino, ordered to Dante Alighieri and comedy and pay for this job. And Dante Alighieri realized for him in comedy that will be reading on the free time. And then you have the same philosophy for several manuscripts. This is because it's very important to understand the administration documentation for paying the manuscript to understanding where you come from the manuscript. It's important. Really, we have also to start again with digital problem, we must have some consistent situation before and performant and robust infrastructure by network. And also, we must have a real-time monitoring of any things. We can understanding, we use many software, standard software, user-friendly, Nagios, or many more of them. You check everything, is it possible you have increment, decrement of the service or something more. But it's important you monitoring always. And then we must realize that it's never enough. Normally, in our infrastructure, we have the switch InfiniBand. The backplane of the Howard server is linked together at 100 gigabit. And that is important because there are lots gigabyte that will be transferred any night. Cannot you realize you do this job with traditional switch? Can go more of 10 gigabit, but it's necessary you change philosophy. This is because you used InfiniBand technology and card on the backplane on each NAS, and the NAS transfer in the night very fast way. Yes, really, it's important you have a flexible infrastructure that can be changed in dynamic way. And this is important, the job of an NTT data person, as always ready never, I go on in front of them, and together with us, you always ready, you change something for you have more efficiency. And then, this is because NTT data, it's the headquarters of the best in service technology. It's not only the headquarters, but the main project head for everything. And from NTT data, you start collaboration from any different company that will be. But this is just an example. The name will be changed. The technology will be changed. The header cannot to be changed. The dream cannot to be changed. The format cannot to be changed. And also, the person that work on together around this project has experience that will be certificated by any different system integrator. This is the last example that we have. Before I explain to you that we have several OPAC, Open Public Access Catalog, one for manuscript, one for printing books, coin, and several things that we have inside of Vatican Library. Another dream that we have together, NTT Data, is created the Hamlet software, one OPAC for all, one software for anything. From these interfaces will be possible to search any of them. Very easy, very user-friendly. This is another step in workflow together NTT data collaboration people. Just an example, the Howard Data Center. When the project is start, only the first to Island is ready. I speak about Island because a green power concept. Any server is inside an Island, big one box, and the cooling processor is a link with the main CPU. More the CPU go fast, more cooling is required. If the CPU go down, the cooling stop. That is important because the green concept before is a cooling all the room. Now is no more this philosophy. We cooling only the machine and the machine that work, not room. It spend lots of money. This is the Iceland that realized by NTT data in the Harvard project, and this is for the future. I hope the hand of the project with them. Vatican Library and NTT data, I think that will be mission possible. I am enjoy real, just not for repeat several times the same things, but for realize this project is not only necessary technology, money, no. We must see person. Human resource is fundamentally in this project, and human resource that you can sharing the same goal. Save the manuscript, not for us. We are lucky. We can take the manuscript. We can read the manuscript for the dot of my dot, for the future. Thank you very much for your attention. I am really enjoying to see today.
アメンティ様、ありがとうございました。皆様、今一度盛大な拍手をお送りください。